Hey, what's up? It's Doug Cunnington here from Niche Site Project. Today is Friday. Today is the Q&A day. So we are just going to go through and answer questions. I'll try to answer them quickly and accurately, hopefully. And I heard my voice on the playback here, so I know we're good to go. I'm monitoring the chat right now. I see we have a couple people in. So you can ask questions about whatever. Normally, when I do a live stream, I try and keep the questions on topic. Basically, that never works out. So we added this general Q&A, and I see we got a couple people on. I know, see Adrian on here. We have Sheik as well. Awesome. See some questions coming in, so feel free to ask. As new people are coming on, welcome, first of all. And let me know where you're located. Also, let me know if this is your first time on. I'll probably repeat that several times. And by the way, since I know we have at least Adrian and Sheik on, we can, go ahead and give a thumbs up. Give a like, please. I appreciate it. I know you guys are already subscribed, but that's cool to get the like. I want to get those, interaction on the channel. That's a good thing. All right, we got Dennis on too. And basically, I'm just going to burn some time here for a second. So first of all, I'll tell you that I've been sort of in a crunch mode right now in the last couple of weeks. Actually this week. So I went on vacation last week. I was out for a bit. I did get everything in place before I left. And this week, I realized, hey, I need to do a lot of writing. I got some other things in place to buy me some time. And I have been writing a ton. I probably wrote, 10,000 words, which is a big range in the last couple of days. And it's been great. I have gotten a lot done. It feels really productive. A couple things that help that. One, I just woke up super early yesterday, like at 4. I woke up without an alarm, just happened to wake up, and I was like, you know what? I'm pretty wide awake. My mind's already flowing. I'm just going to get up and start working. And then today, I think I wasn't as early, like 5:15 or something like that. So a few days this week, I've just gotten up really early, got a lot done. It's very quiet at that time. I'll drink a lot of coffee. As you may know, I do drink a lot of coffee, especially early in the morning, and just really got a lot done. The other thing that I've done is, because of the way I've structured my day with just certain blocks of time and certain things that I can't move, like the live stream or the webinar yesterday or the Q&A with Alex yesterday, I needed to work out midday. And I used to work out between 10 and 1, or sorry, 11 and 1 or so, which is a nice break time. And I haven't been doing that. I've been shifting it to 2 or 3. And I realized that taking a break sort of in that lunchtime period was really critical for me to let my brain rest. I could work until 2, but if I go work out, go to the gym, take a break or something, I usually can't get back into working after that. I'm not sure why. It may be a function of when I eat and when I work out and stuff like that. But anyway, taking a break in the middle of the day, it was a good thing. I'm not sure why I stopped. I think my day just sort of shifted for some reason, but I'm shifting it back. All right, I'm going to get into the questions. Let's get to it. So we got, so Adrian, so you've been watching a lot of videos. Awesome. Thank you for doing that. And Adrian is asking how to make an internal linking structure, not a silo, but just a basic, effective internal linking. Okay. Most things that I'll tell you about are usually the simplest solution possible. So that's the case with this too. Just link to 2 to 5 other posts from each individual post. And then make sure that each post has 2 to 5 incoming links. Now, it depends on the size of your site. If you only have 10 pages, obviously that math is going to be harder to work out. If you have dozens of pages, then you have many options. But the idea is to interlink your site really well. You don't have to, there's no like formula for it. Just do it randomly, link out. It's good if it's relevant. If it's not necessarily relevant, that's okay. You can still link out. And when I say link out, I mean link to internal URLs. So pretty simple. All you have to do is add the links. Super easy. Shake, let me know how to pronounce his name. So the question is, I see a lot of Upwork writers quoting hourly rates. How do you convert that into dollars per hour? So I'm going to assume you're just looking at their profiles and they say, hey, I work for blah, blah, blah per hour. I don't know how to convert that, by the way, because everyone writes at a different speed. And I don't hire writers like that. So what you should do is, if you want to hire a specific writer, you can send them a message and say, hey, I pay, $15 for 1,000 words. Does that work for you? So that's one way to do it. I don't do that, by the way, but it sounds like maybe you're looking at profiles or something. But basically, you need to create a job and say what you want and how much you're going to pay for it. And then you'll get offers. You'll get proposals, rather. So you put up an offer, you'll get proposals. Some are going to be below, some are going to be above. A lot of them are going to be right exactly what you're proposing. So you may as well propose what you're looking for and then go from there. So if you're getting, you are literally the boss in this situation. So you dictate the terms. Of course, you can negotiate. They can negotiate with you. But if you want to pay a certain amount, then just tell them what you want. And then you can build the contract around a fixed rate, not a hourly rate. And Polino, what's up? What's my opinion on the best call to action phrase? For more reviews, click here. There's no best call to action phrase. I usually put something like check out this item at Amazon or check out the latest pricing, whatever makes sense in context. There's no best. If someone tells you there's a best, then they're probably just trying to generalize. And Morty, I'll just say your name's Morty. Morty's question is, I've seen products that rank first on Google from Amazon. Is it advisable to go after keywords that Amazon ranks first for products? So probably not, right? So if you're, and I'm reading into the question, I'm not sure your experience level, Morty, but if you're asking that question, then probably don't do it. So the longer answer is there are certain search terms and pages that Amazon is, creating and generating and intentionally trying to rank for it. So those pages, those are harder to actually beat them on. But if they just happen to be ranking and it doesn't look like they're doing it on purpose, then maybe you can go after that one. Polina says, is it allowed for you to write buy on Amazon on your call to action button? Yeah, and Dennis says, yeah. So, yep, generally, yep, that's cool. And then thanks, Dennis, for mentioning that. Blogging Indian, what's up? Good to have you on. Leo's on too. Hey, Leo, good to have you on. I saw your question on yesterday with WP Eagle, Alex, by the way. So I put it in the list. I copied all the questions that we didn't get to. So he was cool to host it on his channel. And, we didn't have a chance to get through everything because there were so many questions. Blogging Indian says, how to make backlinks, guest posts, Web 2.0s. Yeah, do guest posts. Those are going to be more effective. Adrian says, how much would you say I should pay for the hosting if I want to be really pro in this business? At the moment, you have HostGator. Would you recommend to upgrade? All right. I'll take a break while I think about it, and I'll show you my mug. Anybody watch the Office, the US version of the Office? They had an episode where I think Kelly Kapoor had a party, and all these mugs showed up. If you haven't seen the show, then my cup just looks like I'm full of myself, and I have a cup with my own picture on it. But this was a gift from my sister and brother-in-law. So it's a fun one. My wife has one too. If you don't watch The Office, then it won't make any sense. But okay. Adrian, stick with your current hosting at HostGator right now until you get more traffic. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter that much. So I will tell you a quick story. So I hosted my websites on shared hosting at Bluehost, which is essentially like the same level, I would say, as HostGator, and I was paying like whatever the cheapest thing was, like $5 a month. Okay, so $5 a month, not very much. I think I probably even paid for like 3 years in advance, so I was paying like $3 a month or something. So pretty cheap, little investment up front. Everything was fine. I was getting traffic. In fact, like that was like my first Amazon affiliate site. So, I mean, it went on to make, right? So I'm on the cheapest hosting, and it made like over $10,000, right? Like in 6 months, it made over $10,000. And later I realized, okay, maybe I need to upgrade my hosting. I've been ignoring it for quite some time. And, my site's loading like 8 seconds or something. Pretty slow. So I moved up to Bluehost WordPress optimized hosting, which is, there's a couple things. The biggest thing that they do with that is there are fewer like domains on your server. So a normal shared hosting like server has, I don't know, hundreds of other domains. If you go look, you'll see probably like 500, 800 other domains on there, and it makes the server respond slower. On the WordPress optimized at Bluehost, there were like 10 other domains on there, right? So much faster response time. Just doing that like brought my load times down to like 2.5, 3 seconds. So that alone, one of the biggest changes you can make. And then that was about $25 a month. Okay. Fairly reasonable, right? $25 a month. At that point, it was easily being covered by the revenue from the site. And then I'll tell you, more recently, I've moved up to like even more dedicated type hosting with like more memory, more resources, and more CPU cores dedicated to my site, because there's like multiple thousands of visitors per day. And my site was like loading slow, and to the point where it wasn't loading at all. So I moved up, and now I'm paying about I can't remember, like $120 a month or something like that. So to get to the core of your question, how much would you say you need to pay for hosting if you want to be really pro in this business? It depends, but it depends on how much traffic you get, right? So basically, you don't need to upgrade right now. You should upgrade when you like see the need to do it, and then incrementally upgrade. So, $5 a month is probably fine for now. When you start getting more traffic, say like 500 to 1,000 visitors a day, you maybe need to jump up to 25 bucks a month. And I look at it as a pricing because it's really hard to compare across hosting companies. They make things a little bit different, so it's hard to compare. But if you just look at like how much you're paying and you realize that, you know, these companies wouldn't be in business if they were providing terrible service and their sites were going down all the time. So if you pay more, you get more resources, you get better customer service. And, you know, I hit another point and it looks like between, you know, paying like 4 and 5x to get to the next level looks like it makes sense. And it looks like, you know, you can stick with a particular hosting plan for a while. You don't really need to, it's so easy to transfer to a new hosting account or upgrade your hosting that you really don't need to worry about like planning for the future right now. Okay. There was a long answer, but I have a lot of experience in it at this point. Okay. There's a good question. All right, we got like 15 people on. That's cool. Let me know if it's your first time on. Mono says, how should the ideal homepage look? Static or with cornerstone content or newspaper style? I prefer the static homepage with, you know, a couple of the, I guess like, I don't know what you mean exactly by cornerstone content or newspaper style or magazine style or whatever. I usually just put like a couple links to like the most important pages and maybe like an email opt-in. So there's no like right answer. I don't get much traffic on my homepage, so I don't care that much. Blogging Indian mentions that he or she likes SiteGround or Fast Comment. I actually like SiteGround a lot. I just moved a hosting or a site over to SiteGround. Their customer service is ridiculously fast. So like they're chatting with you like immediately, like within 10 seconds. And you're not just talking to like a CSR, you're talking to like an admin who can like go do stuff for you. So, okay. Tony says Upwork writers are required to list an hourly rate, but rates can change based on the flat rate. For the writer, it's better to list a higher hourly rate. Okay, yeah, so it's just a standard thing. Ivan says talk about link echoes and link ghost. I don't even know what that is, Ivan. I'm not sure. Maybe you could explain what that is briefly? Loran asks, does high quality XYZ and cheap XYZ, are those considered buying keywords? I don't know. I usually don't really consider those buyers keywords. They're kind of on the like high quality product type might be a little closer, but not necessarily. And then cheap is more of it like an instant buy. I think a lot of times you'll get e-commerce results. And Loran, basically you should probably just look for like what the results are when you Google those. And if they're e-commerce, then you probably want to stay away from them. But that's not a hard and fast rule. I just haven't used those. I don't know how great they are. Ivan says, how much money do you expect to make per one review page, comparison page, when you say you need 5 money pages and 5 info pages? Are those all related to one product? Okay, 2 questions. Those are pretty good. How much money do you expect to make per one review page? All right. I should probably talk about that more in depth because I have no idea. That is not like a calculation that I do. And I was thinking of doing more drawings here because I have a lot of paper and writing utensils. So why not do that? See, the thing is, there's too many variables like for how much you could expect to make per review. Like, I wish I had some formula, but you have like search volume, and I'll hold up this closer. You have search volume, and then you have the cost, and then you have the category, and this is for Amazon affiliate sites. I'll hold this up closer. The category commission rate. So just like at the core, you have the search volume that you have to consider. You have the cost of the products, and then you have the Amazon like commission rate based on the category. So at that point, that's a lot of variables. And that's only 3. And there are probably like 10 more if I thought about it a little bit more. Like the cost and price of the product, of course. Like if it's a higher price, then you like would earn more per sale. But usually if it's a higher cost, then people don't buy as many of them. So if it's like a $500 thing and you know, you have a high search volume, like people just don't buy as many $500 things as they do like $50 things. So basically, I have no idea. I've never even tried to do the calculation. Um, so I don't know. And then the second part 2 of your question, when you say you need 5 money pages and 5 info pages, are those all related to one product? No, not one product. Okay. Toki is saying, for a new site, should we seek a lawyer for the disclaimer, privacy policy, terms, and health disclaimers, or use other sites' information generators for now? Probably, well, for the general like FTC like disclaimer, I think I just spit out part of my cough drop there. I'll have to find that later. So, for the general disclaimer for like Amazon or most others, like you could usually just take like the one sentence and say like, hey, I'm an affiliate for Amazon and other associated sites. I make a commission if you buy blah, 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 that stuff. As far as a privacy policy, you probably can use like a generator. Most of the time, like you can state it like if you're using like Google AdSense, or if you have like Facebook pixels and stuff, you should note that in the privacy policy. And that's fairly standard stuff. As far as health, I have no idea. So I don't know. Maybe you should. I don't think you really need to get a lawyer, but it depends on what kind of stuff you're publishing and the claims you're making. So I don't know. So in that case, yeah, maybe talk to a lawyer. Okay. Mono says, how do you suggest to implement affiliate links into your content? I like to do text links, but you can use buttons. Some people do like to use buttons. I just personally don't. And then a lot of people like to use images. So I sometimes use image links, but typically I don't. Typically I just use a text link. And each site, each niche, each site can have different results. So I would say you could try, to give people options, have buttons and text links and pictures if you want. Comparison tables are a great way to present information. And I do recommend having comparison tables, especially when you are presenting information on multiple products, especially like stats and technical specs. Okay. Ivan says, link echoes are links pointing to your pages are removed and then keep flowing juice for a couple months after being gone. Okay. Yeah, I don't really know much. I mean, I've had that effect before, but I don't know what to say about that. if you have any specific questions, maybe I could talk about it. Okay. Jeff, what's up? And Jeff says, what do I think of Spencer's new plugin for tables? You know what? I don't know. I haven't looked at it closely. I saw some of his promotional emails. And I would say that even without looking at it, I still probably will stick with using a HTML table generator just because of my dislike of plugins. I think Spencer's coming in at like a great point where, he has a huge email list. There's a lot of people that, respect him and follow him. He has a large podcast also. So he's coming in with like a great, SaaS product. Looked like the pricing was relatively like competitive, but if you have a site making money, but I think if you're just getting started, I mean, it costs more than a hosting package would. So think about that for a second. So it costs more than like hosting would, but I'm sure it's a nice plugin and everything. Loran says, can I give an example for money page keywords besides best, the top, or reviews? Not off the top of my head. So the best, top, or reviews. I mean, you should be able to find good ones with those. I'll think about it. Just off the top of my head, I can't think of any. Okay, Ivan says, you heard that echo links could be used to get rankings with exact match anchors and then remove them before the page is re-indexed with them showing, and you get rankings in time to gather guest posts for them. So I have a dumb question, Ivan. If you have, why don't you just keep the links? Why don't you just keep them if they're helping you get the rankings? Okay, Adrian says, about keywords, you're still confused about it. If you have 10 long keywords, do you make 10 articles with every single one, or just include the 10 in the 10 articles? I think you asked the same thing twice, but it depends. Probably you put the 10 keywords into 10 individual articles, but it depends on the keywords. And Jeff says, what's my favorite text on call to action buttons? I don't use buttons. And Lorraine says the table generator website is awesome. Cool. Hey, Lorraine, why don't you paste the link in for other people that haven't seen it? Oh, and it looks like we got a lot more people on now all of a sudden. So we got 28 people on. That's super cool. Give me a thumbs up if you can. If you're appreciating me answering the questions, give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. And as we're going through here, we have El Delecki. Hey, what's up? And by the way, I know that, and I'll call you Augustus because that's easier for me to pronounce. This is a linguistic challenge each time. It's great to have the international folk on for sure. So Augustus asked me to review one of his sites, and I don't have time, right? So I get probably, I don't know, at least an email per day asking me to review someone's sites. I just don't do it. I don't have time. If you, and I know probably some people on here, I've actually looked at your site. If you ask like a really damn good question, or you demonstrate that you've gone above and beyond, I may look at your site, like above and beyond in that maybe you've implemented something, you've shared the results with me, and I'm like, hey, that's cool. I'll take a look. I'll pay attention to that stuff. If you ask and Augustus, I'm not talking about you specifically, although I mentioned your name a couple times, but like if you ask a general question such as, hey, can you take a look at my website and let me know what to do next? you may not even get an answer back. Like you should try to compel me to answer you back. And if you ask a sort of a not that great of a question, a general question, I may not answer because I'm not going to look through every page of your website. I'll just tell you right now, I'm not going to look through every page of your website. I may look at like one or two pages. If you're like, hey, what do you think of X, Y, and Z? I've implemented what you've talked about. Here are the results. That kind of stuff will get my attention. But again, if you ask a general question, a bad question, like, you know, how do you find a niche? It kind of shows that you haven't done your research ahead of time. And I don't like that. So I mean, I answer your question. Okay. So Augustus, it was nothing personal. I just don't have time to look at people's websites unless you're a student. I support the students a lot. I think if you like Jeff, and I know a couple other people are students, Leo's a student. You send me an email, I'll get back to you in like 24 hours during like normal business weeks. All right. Shake says, I lost the question somewhere. You found that 80% of affiliate websites are white background and they use light colors overall. Is this a rule of thumb? Not necessarily. I mean, I think probably, well, I mean, if it's 80% of the websites that you found, that's not a good sample set. But I would say I like white backgrounds, so I think that that's probably a good thing to do. So a lot of people are, you know, most websites have white backgrounds, so I think that's probably a good thing to do. But I just want to point out, like, if you're doing like your own research and you check out 30 websites, like that may or may not be a good representation because you have a certain like bias on how you're finding this stuff. And I see Dennis and Jeff, there's a love connection happening there with our West Coast Canadian folks. Glad you guys are connecting. Okay. And then we have Augustus says about KGR, after publishing and sending internal links, what's next? External links. So go get external links. All right. All right. And looks like Tyrone wants to get kicked out of here. So everybody be nice. And cool. All right, now we're back to, all right, yeah, Lorraine, thanks for putting the table generator. So yeah, it's just a straight up HTML generator there. And it's fast, it's super easy to use. And I would challenge people that like, there are I'm affiliates for like plugins and some other things, but I usually, you know, if you've watched a couple of these, I'll usually just tell you exactly what I think. And in the case of plugins, usually you don't need to have them. They can be slightly convenient to do certain things, but like basically you are basically like you could take care of that stuff without using the plugins. And I think Tables, that's a classic case right there. Okay, and Ivan says, because Google penalizes sites with too many exact anchors or partial matches, so you have time to gather them dripped with guest posts. Basically, you can diverse your rank profile. Okay. Okay, yeah. So, I mean, I realize that, but yeah, I guess you could give it a try. I've never tried it, Ivan, so I guess I'm just ignorant in that area. And okay, so we have Malik on too, who wants to get kicked out. This is actually a little bit exciting because we usually have a pretty tight group, but I see maybe someone sharing my link out with these folks that are crazy. All right. It's keeping me on my toes. It's going to make me have to get help monitoring the chat here. All right. Adrian says, do you need to crawl the articles after publishing them? I don't, when you say, do you need to crawl, like, do you mean, like, do you need to try and have them index? Because if so, no. You can go to the Google Search Console and then basically, fetch and index them, but you don't have to like have them crawled by a service. Cool, Jeff. Thanks for letting me know. It's taken me a while to scroll down. So, okay. We have Brandon, what's up, from China. And you just posted a 2,300 word article. What's the best total price to get a 2,000 word article? I would say like when you say all right, so you can get it for super cheap, but that's not really what we're looking for. So I would say a reasonable amount, like a reasonable cost would be like 1.50 to 2 cents for each word. So that's roughly like a reasonable price. Okay, cool. All right, and Danish says you can't see the link for the table generator. Lorraine posted it a minute ago, but it is, where's it at here? There's some spaces in it, so I'll paste it in here. I think I may be able to. I'll paste it in again for you, Danish, and I think I could put that in here. There you go. Okay. All right, Adrian, thanks for hopping on. Have a good one. And all right, Ivan says you haven't tried the echo links, but you saw a test that Moz did, and now you're curious if it could work by just removing them, or would Google still penalize me? I would say they probably could still penalize you. So here's the deal. So did Moz do like a test and then repeat the test, or did a person do this one time and then share the results for that one instance? Because that actually happens a lot. I mean, I've done it as guest post as well, where I've implemented something and it worked and I show the results. It doesn't mean it works 100% of the time. It just means whatever you just read is the thing that they did once, and then they got on the Moz blog to publish it. So I would say probably it's risky. So if you do it, you should treat it like it could explode, basically. Yeah, Tao echoes what I just said. I mean, basically, if you're trying to do any kind of shortcut like that, you should treat it like an experiment, and that you don't care if it, just was 100% penalized and de-indexed. So, Jeff, good question. What kind of traffic do you need to see before a fairly regular daily revenue from Amazon? While that is an ambiguous question, I actually know the answer to it just from my own experience, and then talking with like probably at least 1 or 2 dozen other people who've built multiple other sites. So about 75 to 100 unique visitors per day visiting like affiliate like affiliate content. So the stuff that actually has like affiliate links in there. So 75 to 100, and that roughly should get you to about like 1 to 2 sales per day. Okay. So that's the assumption that your conversion rate is about, 1 to 2% for each visitor that comes to your site. And when you think about it, that's like at the ballpark of like what we're talking about. We'll do some quick math. I'll try to make the numbers easy for myself. So if you get 100 visitors per day, and let's assume you get maybe like a 40% click-through rate over to Amazon. So that's 40 people going to Amazon. And then if you can get maybe like, all right, I'm gonna lose the math here for a second, but let's say you can get like a 10% like conversion on that, which is kind of high, by the way. So let's say 10%. So that puts you at like 4 items per day. So maybe 10% is a little high. So we'll say 5 conversions. Is that right? We'll say 5%. So that is 2 items per day. And that's a few bucks per day. Of course, it depends on the cost of the item, but then across a month, right? So that is about 60 items in a month. So, maybe you'll make about between $60 and $100 per month if you can get 100 unique visitors to your affiliate content per day. So per day. And that is tons of assumptions in there, but generally that is how it can work. Okay. Brandon says, what about the good total price for written plus posted and edited? The Hoth, yeah, they have a pretty good service from what I understand. They kind of handle everything, including some of the deep keyword research. It is expensive though. So your question to get the post written and edited. So for me, about a year ago, I was paying like $25 to $30, but I've hired like a little bit better people. I've given them some raises and stuff like that. So at this point, I'm probably paying, and this is for about 1,000 words, I'm probably paying about $40 per post, 40 to maybe $50 per post. Is that right? No, probably like $40 per post on average for 1,000 words, roughly. So it's probably a little cheaper than that, but $40 is reasonable. And Brendan, what does the Hoth charge? It's like double that, right? Yassine, what's up? Some of your keywords are not ranking for your Amazon site. What's the best way to help them rank? So make sure the on-site like SEO is good, and then get more backlinks. Let's see. Loran says, you love my connection with Alex. Have I tried to hook up with Income School? Actually, it's so funny that you mentioned that. I actually was scoping them out today. So I'm going to send them an email. I was actually drafting an email earlier today to send over to them, but they seem like they're kind of my speed. Now, I'll tell you straight up, I think we're like direct competitors, but you probably heard me mention before, Loran, like I kind of don't view like the direct competitors as competitors because I think people buy based on like the personality, because there's a lot of information out there. But yeah, I'm looking to connect with them. Even if they say, hey, you know what, it's too much like direct competition. But I understand that. But I think they seem like good guys, and it looks like they're doing pretty cool stuff. Lorraine, do you know if do you know them personally? Are you on their email list and stuff? All right, next we got D-Card mentions SEO Intelligence Group has done Echo link tests multiple times and it has worked all the time. Cool. And Dave says, you've been following my videos and you found a keyword with 1,300 monthly searches and only 10 results, 2 small niche sites on top of that. Awesome. Let me know how it goes. And Jeff mentions you're at about 20 per day, 20 visitors per day, and you have a sale every 1 to 3 days, almost guaranteed. Cool. You're totally on the right track, Jeff. That's good to hear. Lorraine says, do I use Genius Link or One Link by Amazon? I am working with One Link right now. I don't have enough traffic from other places to make it worthwhile for me, but One Link seems to be working well. In fact, I could probably do a little case study on that because it's been in for like a month and a half or so. And like I see, I guess just from doing that, I've made like 100 or like 300 Canadian over the 6 weeks, like 300 Canadian, and then I think like 150 pounds or something like that. So anyway, it's paying off already, so that's good. And One Link was really easy to implement. Ivan says the Moz study that you referenced about the echo links is from 2 years ago, so it's probably risky, but they did it multiple times. Do I ever do any 301 redirects to a new domain? No, I don't. Or from an expired domain to speed up the link building? No. Hey, QDog, what's up? Good to have you on here. And Brandon reminded me that the Hoth is charging about at least over $60 for 1,000 words, but they handle everything. QDog says, how many backlinks should I aim for in like 1 year? I think you're asking. As many as you can get. But I think you want to ask a different question. So Mono says, how do I find out if your on-page SEO is good? What tool do I use? I use SEO Quake. And then what do I pay attention to specifically? Basically, I look for like using the keyword but not using it too much. I look for like headings. I put images. I put YouTube videos on there, and I what else do I do? Put outbound links to authority sites that are not competitors with you, and that sort of thing. So I don't really have. I should probably put together like a checklist and distribute it. I believe I have a pretty decent guidelines like within my course, but I usually don't share it out. But that's basically it. Real simple stuff. Okay. Let's see. David says, do I recommend that you post 10 posts before you index your site? Nah, just let it get indexed. Like in general, doesn't really matter. Don't worry about people landing on your site. Loran says, do you have to replace all the URLs to get one link? No, all you have to do is put in like one little code snippet and make sure you're registered in Canada and the UK for their associates programs, which I already was. So it took like 5 minutes to do that. And I put it off for like 3 months. So it's kind of dumb because I probably could have made a few $1,000 from it, or a couple $1,000. And Tao mentions Lettercrafter Inc. or Lettercraft Inc. And they are really good for content. I haven't heard of them, but Tao, sounds like you've used them a lot. Fuckrill, hey, what's up? Good to have you on. Acela Biz says, you already signed up 2 times with Amazon affiliate, but you didn't get any sales and your account got rejected. So is it safe to apply again, or should you apply with a different address? Well, I don't have firsthand experience with that, but I think there's probably not risk if you apply again with the same account. But why don't you figure out why you weren't making sales before and then fix that part of it and then reapply then? And then the thing is, like, go ahead and apply with the same address, and then you can, if it doesn't work, then apply with a different address. So that's pretty easy to deal with. So like I said, that did not happen to me, so I don't really know. I'm just sort of reasoning through it. Yassine says, which would be the best website builder to build affiliate sites? I don't like website builders much. Which tools would you work best according to you? Which do I personally use? So just use a premium theme that looks good and that you know how to use. There's a couple put out by, owned by friends of mine. One's the Ultimate Azon theme. That's a good one. My friend Dave Nicosia owns that one. And then the other is Authority Azon. My friend Dom Wells, he owns that one. But as far as like a website builder, I really don't like those just in general. They're bloated. There's too many options. You don't need all that. You just need to present your information in a clear way and have the theme stay out of the way. Next, Danish says, what should be the ratio of no follow and do follow on a site? I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. I would say that the majority, like more than 50%, should be do follow. Like that's a nice thing to have. If it happens that you have more no follow, maybe because you do like more blog commenting, that could be okay. Like that could be a natural thing that happens if you're just an active commenter. Like that's not a crazy thing. That's a bad characteristic of a site. So I don't know that there's an ideal ratio, and I've never, studied it. Ivan asked, what markups do I use for my money pages? Don't use any currently. And Fakrul says, how many words should I write for a product? I would say like at a minimum, like do like 800 for a post. But you can go like if it's doing well and you see you need to add more content, you can go up to 8,000 or 10,000 or 14,000. I think I'm going to sneeze. I'll mute if I do. All right. I think I'm all right. Okay. And Dave reminds us that the Amazon Associates policy is that you get 180 days to make 3 sales. Yep, that's right. Acela says, do I use an auto interlinking plugin to interlink each article, or do I do it manually? Manually. Do it manually. And just to echo my thought before around plugins, sure, there's some plugins that have like the interlinking stuff that you could build in. That will do the interlinking automatically, but it is like a plugin that you don't need. Like, you really don't get much out of that. And by the way, right? So let's say you have a site with, I don't know, 30 pages of content. I know it's kind of a pain in the butt to go and interlink the posts. And then when you publish new stuff, you have to like go back to old articles and add links to those old articles to your new articles. It's a pain in the butt, right? It only takes a couple minutes, but like it's a never ending thing. You know who doesn't do that? Lazy people. So lazy people don't do it. And like it's a little thing that you can do that really, it can like set your site apart from others. So here's the thing, like I have a site with multiple hundreds of articles, and like I'm interlinking that. I mean, not me personally, I'm paying someone to do it, but like to have that interlinked is like really valuable. So if you're like dealing with a smaller site, like just do it. Just do it. It's really easy. Just do like 1 post per day. It'll take you 10 minutes to add links, and then in 30, again, I'm assuming like 30 pages or whatever. And I'm not talking to you, Acela, specifically, just in general. People are like, oh, I don't want to do that. It's going to take me so long. I have 30 posts. Like, some of this stuff is like boring and it's work, but if you only have to, do it for a few minutes and then you can go on with your life. So yeah, there are ways to do it easier, but I don't think they work as well. Okay. Layla, how do you make an Excel spreadsheet template to make KGR faster? Okay. Layla, I think you maybe sent me a question like that. I'm sorry if I didn't answer that. Do I have a template for that or hyperlink for the KGR? So here's the thing. There are a few, I have a couple templates. A few of my students have given me templates to make it a little bit faster. I'll probably share those out next week. In fact, I should make a note, a note about that. So there are a couple little tweaks that you can do. And basically what you can do is get a list of keyword terms, keyword phrases, paste them into a sheet, like a Google sheet, and then a hyperlink will be created that does the all-in title. You still have to click on that hyperlink, and it opens a window or a tab in Amazon, it opens another tab in Google, and that, like the Google search page, and then you still have the same slowdown that you normally would. You still have an all-in title search running. So it speeds it up like incrementally, but not much. So Layla, I'll put it on my list so I can do that next week. KGR spreadsheet. Oh, this is a funny thing too. So some other person that does niche site, Amazon niche site stuff, they snagged my KGR like material, and then they embedded the video, right? So they hooked me up with a video link, so that's cool. But they created their own KGR like spreadsheet, and then they were using that as a lead magnet, and then they never linked to my site. That's some insecurity, I would say. All right, moving on. Ivan says, do you drip your content or just publish it all at once? Just publish it all at once. It doesn't matter. Lorraine says, do setting affiliate links open in a new window worthwhile? You have to change it across multiple articles. However you want to do it. I usually have those set as opening in a new tab, because it can sort of boost your the on-page metric from a Google Analytics standpoint. But I mean, it probably doesn't matter that much. Ivan says, do I interlink in clusters and then cluster the categories between each other, or randomly interlink the content? I don't intentionally do the clusters, but I know that it works out that way because, having content that's relevant linked together. So if I'm talking about pens and stuff a bunch in one article, and then I'm talking about permanent markers in another, they're both writing utensils, so linking those together makes sense. Alternatively, if I'm talking about notebooks and just different notebooks, big notebooks, legal pads and stuff, again, those are writing things you write on. So those are related. So it works out that clusters work out. QDog says, all right, good, deeper question. What do I do when I get frustrated with your site or have a problem? Usually take a day off and then hit it the next day. Okay. So normally, let's see. And I'm going to take that one step up and say hey, what happens when I get frustrated with actually, here's one. So for Project Go White Hat, if you're unfamiliar with Project Go White Hat, It was a site that my friend and I sold for $235,000. Here's the thing. We were behind schedule, and we didn't get to sell the site as soon as we wanted to. In the meantime, Amazon changed the commission rate for everyone, right? The value of, or the revenue of our site, the income from the site went down by like 36% overnight. This was March of 2017. And basically that cost us like six figures, right? So if you do the math, that's a lot of money. It cost us a lot of money. And basically, we were frustrated and we had a problem. Additionally, luckily, Rob and I, I think we're both quite pragmatic. We work together really well. I hope I could work with him on some other project again in the future. But basically, we didn't get too emotional about it. I think, at that point, we probably had like a lot of time to prepare, but we basically took it as a business problem, looked at the various solutions, and then dealt with it from there. Sounds very calculated and non-emotional, but what can you do? Alternatively, right? So taking a different approach. So let's say I'm trying to work on something. I will take a break. Usually I don't have the option to take a break for a day, right? So you're saying take a day off and hit it the next day. Sometimes I could do that if it's the end of the day, but let's say I hit a snag, something bad happens early in the day. Well, you just got to fucking deal with it and work through it. I'm not saying that, not directed at you, Q Dog, but I'm just like, all right, a couple weeks ago, my site was down, a site of mine was down. It was costing me $400 a day. That sucks, right? So all we can do is work through the problem and take it from there. And probably a lot of that comes from my project management background. And, I could give you the answer to an interview question that I've honed over the years. But I mean, there was a project, actually, this was sort of a defining moment, as I got into management, but I was managing, I think it was a $5 million project, high visibility. Something very bad went wrong right before we were about to deploy. This is back in my corporate days. Something very bad happened that essentially was going to impact 50 other projects that were also being deployed that same maintenance weekend. And basically, we had to take a step back. I owned the problem on the $5 million project, which impacted hundreds of other millions of dollars that were being implemented, revenue, production stuff that we were working on. And basically you just have to list out the possible solutions, look at the pros and cons of each one, and then go to the decision makers that can help you prioritize what's important, prioritize what's not important. And you just figure it out. You have to push through. We had a hard deadline, and I worked until 11 o'clock that night, working through it with various people that were 5 or 6 levels above where I was at. And you just got to stay cool and not go crazy. So I don't know if that's helpful, Q Doc. Acela says, if you have more than 500 articles, then which method is easier for you to manage? How can you organize more articles? Okay. So Acela, I'm going to try to answer it. I don't think I have a full picture, but here's what I would do. I would get the URL and title for each one of the 500 articles. I would group them by some sort of category. I hope you could group them into, 4 or 5 categories. And then I would develop a plan to interlink them based on their category so that everyone has a nice harmonious interlinking within their category. And it's just like eating an elephant. So you have to do it one bite at a time. Okay. Brandon, see ya. Good to have you on. David, what's the minimum number of articles you should have in order to be accepted into the Amazon Associates program? David, okay. So I don't know. Here's what I recommend. I don't know that there's an actual minimum, but normally I recommend that you should publish like 10 articles, 10 articles, sorry, 10 articles, and 5 of them could be like product review type stuff. And then 5 of them should be how to, informational, like not a product review, like not commercial content. Later on, after you're approved, you can add like affiliate links to the like non-affiliate stuff, the how-to articles. But that sort of balance of 50-50 is what seems to be working for many, many people. And I'm looking out there because it's snowing and sleeting. It's it's blowing into the window. So I would turn the computer that way, but I think it'll just be like too bright. Okay. The question is, when I sold the site for $200K, how much do you pay for taxes? You pay about a third. You pay about a third for taxes, but it depends on your own situation. Layla, yeah, so you did ask in the blog, but you didn't get an answer. Yeah, so I'll go back to that, Layla. I'm sort of delayed as like at the beginning of the call, I talked about I was writing a bunch, and that means I've ignored a bunch of emails and I've ignored comments on blogs and a bunch of other stuff too. Cool. So Mystical Heaven says, on your Shopify blog, you would like to add Amazon links, so it'll be mixed with AliExpress products. You're not sure if Amazon will like it. Okay. I'm unsure also. I haven't had like that specific situation. I would say you could probably like temper the risk by putting like your Amazon affiliate content on pages where you don't have competing stuff. That would be a way to sort of just keep them separated. And I think you should probably be okay, but you can just contact Amazon Associates and ask them directly. Ivan says, do you avoid putting email sign up on money pages? Generally, yes, but not always. And where are the trolls coming from today? This is amazing. I think it means I'm getting enough people to pay attention to me that I'm getting trolls. So that's actually not a bad thing. Lightman says, how many affiliate offers would you add per 10-page affiliate niche site? When you say affiliate offers, I'm going to assume you mean products. I would say it depends. I'm not 100% sure how to really answer that. You could put 1 affiliate offer per page if you want. You could put 10 affiliate offers per page. But I'm not really sure what you're asking. Acela says, do I use any tools or software to plan contents or articles? No, not really. I just kind of have a list of keywords and like articles and then publish them. Richard, thanks for liking it. Appreciate it. Yeah, Dennis says you've never seen trolls before. I haven't either. It's something else. So, okay, cool. And Lightman, I think you were clarifying. So and the thing is, like I said before, you probably should try and have like 50% affiliate and non-affiliate content. And by the way, like I heard it from a friend, so I don't know personally like this specific situation, but imagine for a second a site where you had, we'll just make up some numbers. Let's say you had 97 informational articles that were fairly easy to rank for, and you got tons of traffic. Let's say you got 1,000 visitors per day. to your site, and 97% of the posts, 97 of the 100 were informational, helpful articles that were a little bit easier to rank for because people are not using them for money pages. And then you had 3 articles that were well written, tightly focused, and you basically funneled as much of your 97% of the traffic from the 97 articles to your 3 articles that were affiliate content. We can imagine that you maybe could make, 5 figures, like $10,000 a month from 3 well optimized articles. By the way, the site that I mentioned before for Project Go White Hat that we sold for $235, that was like specifically like one page was doing like 90% of the revenue. It doesn't mean we were getting like a bunch of other traffic from the rest of the site, but I mean, there was still a lot of traffic on the other pages. But I mean, the thing is, you don't have to have like a huge site. So the point is, Lightman, you can just have, 50% of your content, and you can have like 50% of your content as affiliate content, and you can have, 1 or 5 or 10 like products on those affiliate pages, and that would be fine. Okay. Yassine says best practices for link building. So do blog comments and then get guest posts. D-Card says, do I cloak my affiliate links? No. And Pratyush says, you tried to follow the KGR for keyword research, but got exhausted from testing hundreds of keywords where just 1 or 2 of them had a KGR below 1. How can you come up with keywords that have some chance of fitting into the ideal range? You just got to keep looking, man. What you're going through is helpful. It feels frustrating, but like spending time finding out what doesn't work is helpful. So just keep looking. You can get some really good ideas from like other sites in your niche. If you go look at their SEMrush reports, that can be helpful. So yeah, I don't have a good answer to that. Part of the reason why the KGR works is because it's hard. Blue Fuse, other Doug, what's up? You can't share the sites, but can I share some other sites that I think are great examples that are close to similar to yours? It's nice to have a model to emulate. Okay. Yeah, Lorraine, you're right. I have a bunch of examples. So I actually have a playlist with a bunch of these. I just have to find it for you. I have to find the link. And yeah, so I have a bunch of teardowns. And okay, there's my playlist. I could tell you in a second. And by the way, I think we still have like a bunch of examples here. And just need to find the link here. Found it. Copy the link address. Here. So there's a bunch of examples. And Jeff, thanks for posting those. But in the interest of protecting people's sites, I'm just going to kill those. So I tried, by the way, the thing is with the example sites that I've given in that playlist that I just pasted in there, basically those are sites that were publicly outed or public case studies, or they're owned by like the New York Times or like, multi-million-dollar corporations. So they are just big sites. That's why they're on there. And just in general, I try not to like out sites. So like I said, Jeff, thanks for posting them. But just since it's a slightly public forum, I just removed them. So, okay. Any other questions? We've been going for a while today, and it looks like we still have like 27 people. Hey, so I have a question for everyone. And if you're still on here, that means, I probably kept you on for a while. And I will ask that I've been doing these shorter videos over the last 2 weeks. Those are edited by not me, right? It's edited by someone who like knows how to edit a lot better than I do. And I've just been trying to make them shorter. A lot of the videos, particularly in that playlist, Doug, those are long. Some of them are like 40 minutes. And I was sort of experimenting. And if the right person is watching the videos, if you're on here right now and we've been talking for like an hour and 15 minutes, like, you'll stick around, you'll watch the long video. So my question is this: do you like the long form videos? And just tell me like, hey, I like the long form videos. Say I'm comfortable watching, 30 minutes. I'm comfortable watching 20 minutes. I'm comfortable up to an hour. I think there's a blend, right? So there's two different schools of thought. So I could do a 2-minute video where I talk about like how I deal with problems, like the good question that Q Dog asked, right? So I could talk about how I deal with problems and I could answer in like 2 minutes. Or I could talk for like 20 minutes, lay context. I could tell more stories. Or maybe I do them both. And some people are going to go for the short version and then they'll think, hey, I really like that. I'll watch the longer one too. I can't get enough of Doug talking. So I don't know who those people are, but let me know what length of video would you folks enjoy? Okay. And while I let that question percolate out there, Dave says, you have a suggestion for the person struggling with KGRs? Just look at other Amazon sites, look at their articles, and most of them have KGRs with 0.25 with low competition. Yep, it's all about research. And Lorraine says, if you're struggling with KGRs, just use the Google autocomplete or related searches. And by the way, Pratyush, I have like 2 videos where I talk, actually I have more than that, but go to my channel, go like to my main channel page, and there's a search bar there, and you can just type in like keyword golden ratio or KGR. You may have to search separately, but I talk about like, I do a demo. I talk about places to find them and how to get ideas of which one of them is using autocomplete and related searches. That usually works well. All right, Jeff talks about Q&A is good long. Awesome. That is helpful to know. Mystical Heaven says long, but you can take from a long and create a short one. Yep, definitely true. Doug mentions that you like long and short form, but the short forms are great in the sense that it boils down the essential takeaways. Very cool. JP says, for one topic, 10 to 20 minutes. For more complex webinar covering topics you don't mind, even 2 hours. Lorraine says, use both. You personally watch them all. Thank you for the support. And Yassine says, tips to find low competition keywords. Search for the keyword golden ratio. And then you'll see my tips for finding low competition keywords. Jeff says, if I'm doing the quick info ones, you like short and sweet ones between 5 and 20 minutes. Layla says both. You think the mix is best. The live sessions are better because you can interact for sure. Lightman says Q&A is good. Medium length. Jeff says, you like what I'm thinking. All right, cool. Danish says 5 to 10. Blue Few says the main problem is you're watching so many things these days. Short is great for the material that's actionable, and you like the keyword golden ratio. Cool. Makes sense. And Paul is trying to capture my subconscious modeling. So long is good. Enlightenment, so many mainstream sites are off the mark and they offer content as advertising or sponsored. Okay, and yeah, Pratt, if you check out the KGR content, especially the ones that I just put out, like those kind of answer the questions you were asking. Enlightenment, what do you mean when the mainstream sites are off the mark, offering content as advertising? Which sites are you talking about? Okay, so cool. This sort of thanks everyone for the tips on the length. So I'm basically the same way. A lot of the videos that I watch are in the like 5 to 10 minute range, but every now and then I'll watch something much longer. There were a couple videos that were essentially talks from conferences that I'll watch like 45 minutes or an hour of them if it's the right person and it's specifically the problem that I'm trying to solve. And I think that basically the mix is the right way to go, because some people basically only watch short videos and some people will watch super long ones. The thing is with the long videos, I need to cut out the fat. So I do longer videos with like less of me thinking through it. Of course, the live sessions, these are so much easier to do because you expect me to struggle through communicating and talking. Hopefully there are less filler words than there used to be. But basically I need to figure out how to do those. Like I bet I could cut those 40-minute videos down to 20 minutes. So they're much faster. So they're more like the 2-minute videos where it's like all actionable stuff. And my editor can help me like pull out the garbage and get rid of it. So, okay, we've been going on for a while. Thanks again, everyone, for the suggestions and the questions. And okay, one more question came in. Or a couple more came in. Can I briefly explain how I gauge if a keyword is competitive or not? If you install the Mozbar and then you get the DA and the PA, that gives you a decent idea of like how competitive a specific keyword is. Also, if it's mostly like e-commerce sites, that's a bad keyword. Too competitive, the wrong kind of competition. If you see multiple niche sites in say like the top 20, that's a good thing usually. Yasin said, thanks. You noticed I was answering every question. Yep, I sure do. I try to. Okay, cool. I think all the questions are answered. And like I said, I think I'm going to go to the gym and get some exercise. So hopefully I can come back and do some more work. Everyone have a good weekend, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.